Negrete, and this is my interpretation of the piece You Don't Pick How They Are Killed from the series Why Not Eat Your Pet by Gale Hart. The mediums used in this painting are pencil and paint on board. Here's the painting. So the first thing I wanted to discuss was the focal point of the painting, which I believe is the pig in the very center. And I also wanted to point out that there's a lot of value in these characters, the chiaroscuro, the black and white there. And there's a lot of blending to just kind of like define the clothes that they're wearing. And for him to be the focal point, you kind of see their eyes focusing in on him, and their weapons, their eyes. Oh my god. The pickaxe here. They're all pointing at him. And one of the first things I wanted to point out was the cut lines on his body. And I think that kind of like symbolizes him as food, like meat. That's how they see him. That's how they view him. They no longer see him as a friend or another living thing. They see him only as food and something to kill and eat. And his body is pink. And he's wearing a brown jacket, but his face, it's black and white, and he's very terrified. So I think that the artists use color on the body only because that's the focus, is the body, is the meat. But his face, we're not focusing on how the animal's feeling or the emotions involved and how they feel about death, dying, and being eaten. We're not thinking about that. We're thinking about the body only because that's the focal point, is the body. And in terms of size or proportion, you can kind of see that these characters, they're all slightly bigger than the pig in the middle. So that's probably because we view ourselves as the top of the food chain, so we're bigger, so we're more important. And I think that there's no color used in the characters because there's no emotion. And I think the black and white kind of like symbolizes cruelty, that there's no emotion whatsoever. There's no humanity or humane perspective while dealing with this animal here. And when you look at the background, you can kind of see the darker here, the columns of color. So it's lighter here and darker here, and it kind of just goes like that. And to me, that kind of looks like bars, like he's in prison. So the animals are trapped. And he does look like he's cornered. He's surrounded by these three characters, and he's cornered. He can't get out. If we're gonna look more closely at the characters, there's hard lines used here, and like I said, a lot of shading to create value on them. The hard lines here as well. And on top of the columns of color in the back, there's kind of like a paint hazed over, and I think that's because there's no defined emotions here. It's kind of like that's all we're thinking about. We're leaving out the emotional aspects here. We're only focusing on him as the meat, nothing else. There's really no civilized aspect here. There's no defined civilization here. I believe that the artist used cartoon characters to kind of put an innocent cover on what really happens. So you see these characters don't exactly look like cheerful cartoon characters. None of them really look like cheerful cartoon characters, and I think that's because they've been cruelized into the reality we have now. But we don't see it. We don't see it that way. So the cartoon characters here are being used to kind of show us what we look like, but in a more innocent point of view, to maybe make us feel bad about what we're doing, and maybe kind of put it into perspective that we do not treat animals the way they should be treated. Even if we're going to eat them, we don't treat them well at all. We push them very far and treat them very, very, very cruelly. And I mean, you can see from his face, he's absolutely terrified of us. And these are cartoon characters. He's terrified of them. When you see how much space is in between and how much is left on the canvas, I believe that points to, again, how we've distanced ourselves from the emotional aspect of this entire situation. we no longer look like we're human beings, and we're very cruel about it.